Hey friends, you're tuned into WHAINT Radio, deep and dark in the backwoods of yonder. Welcome back to the Holler, y'all. Dark out there. Dark in here too, same as always. I wish I could tell you the station is quiet now, but it ain't. There's a light under the basement door. Thin little line of yellow, like sunrise trying to crawl through a coffin crack. Mary Ann's been humming again. Same song she used to hum when she'd wash dishes after supper. Only she keeps missing the same note, over and over, like a record with a scratch in it. I told myself I wouldn't go down there. Then I found something on the console while that song was playing in the last episode. A strip of blue ribbon. She wore one just like it the week before we buried her. Where the heck did it even come from? I'm gonna sit here a while longer. Keep the record spinning, keep my hand off that key. But if next time I sound a little farther away than usual, well, you'll know I went downstairs. Got a few more letters. Seem to be more of you out there listening. That's a good and a bad thing. Good because it keeps the station and myself alive. Bad because I don't want any of you stuck in this place too. That's how it got me, you know. I heard it playing once during a hell of a storm. I followed the music, the sound in the trees. My grandmother warned me about that kind of music, but I followed it anyway, to a blinking red tower that called out to me. And since the moment I got here, I haven't been able to leave. Letters somehow arrive, but I don't know who delivers them. Haven't seen another human soul in at least 4 years, as best as I can count. Some are from listeners, some are from dead people, some are from future listeners. Some are written in my handwriting. Wild, I know. I've learned a lot since being here. I feel like I'm slowly becoming part of this place. With that said, there are a few basic rules I learned the hard way, because not following them down here in the holler can lead to serious harm. Number uno. Never let the broadcast fall silent after midnight. Rule 2. Do not answer knocking from below, even if it's hard. I try to remember this one. 3. If the tower light turns white, do not look out the window, based on experience. 4. If a caller knows your childhood nickname, hang up. 5. Never play a tape labeled in your own handwriting. Did that once, and the power shut off about 10 seconds in. It was a hard night. Those things managed to get to the front door. Scariest night of my life. I wrote those down here at the station. As long as I follow them and have a little bit of sense, I can somehow manage. But that's enough about me. You didn't tune in tonight to hear me talk about rules. You came to hear the story. And let me tell you, my friend, I have quite a story for you tonight. Got a story tonight out of Alaska, a place called the Farewell Burn. 40-50 miles of standing dead timber, burned black in a fire back in the 70s. Never grew back right. No live trees, just char and ash and old bone-colored wood standing up out of the snow like something that died on its feet and forgot to fall down. Wind gets in those hollow trunks sometimes, and the whole burn breathes with it. A long, low sound, like a lung working, and there's nothing alive within a mile of you making it. There's something that runs through that dark, up in that country, that the old people along that river have a name for. Keelet. Black as poured tar. No hair anywhere but its feet. Doesn't breathe like a living thing breathes. Eyes that don't need your light to shine. This one belongs to a man named Gil Larsen. Recorded it for his daughter, not for me, not for you. But she gave it to me anyway, after, because she said somebody ought to hear it who'd understand what it cost him to say it out loud. It's got a dead dog in it, be warned. But it's got a live one too. It's got a man standing on ice that won't hold him, close enough to a thing that shouldn't exist that he could have hit it with a snowball. And it's got about 4 minutes in the middle of all that where I genuinely didn't know, listening to this the first time, whether he made it out at all. He did. Barely. Keep that in your head the whole way through, because he didn't have it in his. Keep your dogs close tonight.
Hey, it's Dad. Doing the thing, the recording thing. I know I said I would, and I'm doing it, so don't call the checkpoint volunteers asking if I checked in. They'll think I forgot my own kid. Cold out. Real cold. -20 maybe. Hard to say. My thermometer's been reading wrong since Rainy Pass. Team's good. 12 dogs. Juno's leading. She's good. She's doing good. I'm heading into the burn next. You remember the burn. I took you through it on a snow machine when you were, 10? Black trees everywhere. No leaves. None. Just black wood standing up like fence posts that never stopped. You cried. Said it looked like the end of the world got left out to rot. Still does. Worse at night. You forget how much worse everything is at night until you're back in it. Gonna head out. Talk soon. One more thing. I know why you made me promise these. I know what this is. You don't have to explain it to me every time I call. I get it. I'm gonna be honest with you the whole way through this run. All of it. Every mile. I owe you that much after everything. After Ruby. That's the deal, okay? That's the deal I'm making with you right now. Out loud. On tape. Whole truth. Whatever happens. Okay. Loading up. Hey girl. 2 hours in now. Black trees both sides. No branches on any of them. Just trunks, straight up, close together. Reminds me of teeth in a jaw that never closed all the way. Kinda like Uncle Ben. You haven't seen him in years. Not many dentists out here in Alaska, you know. Winds moving through the hollow ones. Low sound. Long. Like the whole burn's got one lung and it's working it slow. It's an eerie sound. Snow's good. Trails fast. Dogs are quiet. The good quiet, not the other kind. Ash still in this snow. 50 years and it's still in there. You kick it up sometimes, running through a drift, and it comes up gray, not white. Tastes like an old fireplace if the wind's wrong. Nothing to report. Not yet. Came around a bend and there was something standing dead center of the trail. Big, black, not moving. I want you to know exactly what went through me in that half a second. It was wild. I thought, it's already ahead of me. It's already here and I never even saw it pass. Then it huffed. Steam came up off it in a big rolling cloud in my headlamp, and I heard the wet sound a big animal makes clearing its nose, and my whole chest came loose all at once, because it was a moose. Bull moose, big rack, standing square in my trail like he owned the deed to it, which out here he basically does. Relief didn't last. Moose won't move for a dog team, won't move for much of anything. And a spooked one will come through your gang line stomping. Killed dogs before. More than one team's lost an animal that way. So I had to ease the hook down, get the dogs settled, bang the handlebar and yell till my throat hurt. Wait him out a good 5-6 minutes, with my heart still going from the first scare while he decided, in his own time, that we weren't worth the trouble. He ambled off into the black trees eventually, didn't so much as look back. I sat there afterward shaking a little, adrenaline with nowhere to go, and out of nowhere, I thought about Ruby barking a big cow moose clean out of camp once. Did I ever tell you about that? It was years back. She stood her whole 60 pounds between that animal and the puppies we had staked nearby, and didn't budge till it left. Bravest dog I ever owned. Didn't know fear the way the rest of us know it. Didn't mean to think about her yet. Wasn't ready. Moved on anyway. Something else. Don't know how to say this one clean, so I'm just gonna say it messy, the way it happened. Started hearing it maybe 10 minutes back. Off in the trees, left side, same side as the moose. But there's no huffing to this, no crackling either. None of the sounds something that size ought to make pushing through standing timber this thick. Just wait. Coming down on snow, even. Steady. Matched right to my pace. And when I say matched, I mean exact. I mean I could set a clock by it if I wanted to try. Sped the team up to test it. Real hike, hard, maybe a quarter mile. It sped up too. Same interval, same distance off the trail. Like it just decided to keep pace instead of get left behind. Slowed back down. It slowed. Can't see a thing back in there. Trees too close together here. No gaps like out on that flat by the bend. Just black on black on black. And whatever's holding that pace isn't breaking one branch doing it. Not one. You'd think something running flat out through spruce that tight would be crashing around some, snapping deadfall, and there's nothing. Just that even weight landing, over and over, patient as anything. Dogs know. Whole team's gone quiet in that other way now, the bad way. Ears up and forward, not relaxed forward, hunting forward. And nobody's panting anymore even though we're pushing a decent pace. That's wrong, Em. Dogs pant. Always. Every dog I've ever run pants working this hard in this cold. And right now, I've got 12 dogs breathing so careful and so quiet I can hear my own heartbeat over all of them put together. Not gonna stop to look. Don't think looking's the thing to do right now. Just gonna keep moving and hope whatever's pacing me gets bored before I do. Hey, it's been a few hours. Frost ring around a burned stump back here. Perfect circle. White. Thick. Rhymed like somebody stood there a long time, breathing on it slow and even, except everything around the stump's dry. No frost anywhere else. Just that one ring, like a fence somebody built out of cold. Didn't stop to look close. Smell hit me a mile past that. Wet dog. Strong. Overpowering. Like sticking your face right down in a dog that just came out of a river. There's no river for 80 miles that isn't frozen solid 3 feet down. No water, no dog but mine, and mine don't smell like that. Mine smell like wood smoke and fish and cold fur. Not that. Counted my team out of habit right after. Something you do without thinking. Every musher does it. Quick head count. Make sure nobody's tangled. Got 13. Counted again. 12. Right number. 12 dogs, same as always. And I stood there on the runners with my heart going and told myself it was the ash catching light funny. Some drift kicked up looking like a shape for half a second, and that's probably all it was. Probably. I need to tell you about Ruby now, all the way through. I have been putting this off for the past recordings. The moose was a real distraction, by the way. I said whole truth, and I meant it. And I can't tell you what happened tonight without you understanding what happened 8 years ago, because they're the same story wearing 2 different years. You picked her out. You remember that part. 10 years old. Walked down the whole row of pups at Denny's place, and every other kid wanted the fat one climbing the fence, and you sat down in the straw next to the runt who wasn't doing anything, just watching everybody else make noise. And you said, "That one, Dad, she's thinking about something." She was always thinking about something. Best nose I ever ran. Used to sit outside your bedroom window some nights when you were sick. Wouldn't come in the house. Wouldn't leave the yard either. Just sat there under the window like she was standing guard on something only she could see needed guarding. Chewed exactly 1 boot in her whole life, my good ones, and looked so guilty about it, I never had the heart to be mad. She was leading my team 8 years back, same as Juno's leading it now. Same position on the gang line. I think about that some nights, how a dog's whole life can get boiled down to a spot on a line, and how it's not really the dog's fault what that spot ends up costing her. That year I was chasing a time. There was a musher, doesn't matter who, doesn't matter now. Beat my personal best on this exact stretch the year before by 11 minutes. And I'd thought about those 11 minutes pretty much every day for a year. Which tells you something about the size of a man's pride when you say it out loud like that. Storm came up that night, not unlike tonight, though the wind was worse. Real wind, not this quiet kind. I was running a river crossing I'd done a dozen times. Ice always solid there, always had been. Except there'd been a warm spell 2 weeks prior, and then a hard freeze right after. And warm spell ice does something to itself that you can't see from on top. Water finds a way, up through cracks, sits under fresh snow, looks exactly like solid ground. Looks like nothing at all is wrong. Ruby stopped at the edge of it. Didn't slow down, Stopped. Full stop, same as Juno did tonight. And she put her nose down low, right down near the snow. And she made this sound, not quite a whine, lower than that. A sound I'd only ever heard out of her twice before in her whole life. Both times right before something bad happened that I hadn't seen coming yet. She backed up half a step, looked back at me, ears flat. And I was thinking about 11 minutes. I said hike. Said it sharp, the way you say it when you mean it, not a request. She looked at me 1 more second. I've turned that second over 10,000 times since, trying to read something in it I probably put there myself after the fact. Some kind of please, some kind of are you sure? And then she did what a good dog does. She trusted me over her own instinct. She hiked forward. Ice took her about 6 feet in. No warning crack first, not like you'd think. Just a sound like something breathing out, slow. And then she wasn't standing on anything anymore. Sorry, girl. Reliving this is hard. I haven't done it in years. Water under river ice in January will stop your heart in about 90 seconds if you go in past your chest. She went in past her whole body, harnessed to a moving gang line, other dogs still pulling because they didn't understand yet what had happened to the one up front, dragging her under the lip of broken ice before I got the team stopped. And I went in myself, up to my thighs, getting to her, which I don't remember deciding to do. I just remember suddenly being in water that felt like a wall closing on my legs. Pulled her out by the harness. 60 pounds of dog turns into something like 200 pounds of dead weight the second she soaked through, and the currents got hold. And I don't know how I got her clear. I've never been able to explain the strength that came into my arms that one time, and never came back since. She wasn't fighting anymore by the time I had her on the bank. Wasn't shivering either, which I didn't understand yet was the worse sign, not the better one. Eyes open, looking at me. Not scared. That's the part that's never left me, Em. She wasn't scared of the water. Wasn't scared of the cold closing in on her from the inside. She was looking at me like she still believed, right up to the very end of believing anything at all, that I was going to fix this, that I always fixed things. That was her whole world, and I just proved to her, at the very last moment she had to learn anything, that it wasn't true. Got a coat around her, got her on the sled, ran the last 8 miles to the checkpoint faster than I have ever run a team in my life, screaming at dogs who didn't need screaming at. They were already running like the devil was on the runners with us, and the whole team howled the entire way in, every one of them, which I'd never heard them do before and haven't heard since. Dogs know. I've come to believe that all the way down. They knew before I let myself know. Vet at the checkpoint took one look, and his face did something I still see when I close my eyes tired enough. He worked on her 40 minutes. I held her the whole time, wrapped in every dry thing anybody at that checkpoint could find. Somebody's parka, somebody's sleeping bag liner. And I talked to her the entire 40 minutes, told her she was a good girl, told her we were almost done for the night, told her all the ordinary things you tell a tired dog at the end of a run, because I did not have it in me yet to tell her the true thing, which was goodbye. I felt her go. Not dramatic. Not the way it looks in a movie. Just a long breath out that didn't have another one follow it. And her weight changing in my arms, the way weight changes when something that was holding itself up isn't holding itself up anymore. I called you from that checkpoint. You were 16. I still hear exactly how you said what you said, and I don't fault you for it. You were a kid. And you just lost a dog you loved since before you had all your adult teeth. But you said, you should have listened to her, Dad. She tried to tell you. And I have never in my life agreed with anything as fast or as completely as I agreed with you in that moment. Buried her under the birch out past the dog yard at home. You wouldn't come out for it. I understood that too. Didn't touch a sled for the better part of 2 years after. Nearly sold the whole kennel. Had a buyer lined up and everything. Good home for the rest of the dogs. And it was you, of all people, 16 going on 17 by then, who told me selling them would just be one more thing Ruby's death took from both of us. And if I quit now, it'd mean she died for nothing except making me afraid. And she deserved better than being the reason I got afraid of the thing she loved doing with me most in the world. So I kept the kennel. Bred Juno 2 years later, out of a line that ran back, if you go far enough, to Ruby's own littermate. Not the same dog, I want to be real clear with you, Em. I never once let myself pretend Juno's the same dog come back around. That's not fair to her, and it's not fair to Ruby's memory either. But something in the blood carried forward. Something in how she stops, how her ears go flat in that exact same way, like the same warning's been passed hand to hand, dog to dog, down through years neither of them had any say in. That's the whole truth of Ruby, finally, all the way through, 8 years late. Marker's wrong up ahead. Trail bends left here, always has. I've run this leg 11 times. Marker's planted straight, out past the bend, out where the burn opens onto a flat I know for a fact isn't solid. There's a slough under there that never freezes all the way, even in a hard January. I almost didn't catch it this time. I'll tell you that too, since it's the truth. My head was still back at that checkpoint 8 years ago, still holding a dog that wasn't breathing, and I had my leaders half turned toward that marker, going through the motions, before anything in me woke up enough to notice where I was actually pointing my team. Juno stopped. Didn't slow. Stopped. Full stop. Dead center of the trail. And every dog behind her stopped with her like they'd rehearsed it. And she turned her head and looked back at me, ears flat. Em, I want you to understand what I did next. I think it's the only thing in this whole story I did right on the first try. I said, okay. I didn't hike her forward. I didn't say, gee. I set the hook, walked up to her, put both hands on her ruff, and I said, okay, out loud, to a dog, on a dark trail, at whatever o'clock in the morning it was. And she pulled left, around the bend, the real way, away from that marker. I looked back once the marker was behind us. Gone. No stake. No hole in the snow where a stake pulled out. Nothing. Gotta run. Talk soon, Em. Ground opened up ahead. Burn thins out here, flattens into muskeg. Hardly any standing trees left at all. And I thought, good. At least now I'll see it coming. Nothing to hide behind out here. No cover for a thing that size. I was wrong about that. Wrong about the cover mattering. And I was wrong about something worse, which I didn't understand until I was already standing in the middle of it. This flat. This exact kind of flat, wide open, snow-covered, no trees, sitting low between two rises. I've crossed 100 of these on 100 different trails and never thought twice. But standing on this one, waiting out a ground blizzard with the hook set, I felt it under my boots before I let myself think the word for it. A give. A softness where there should be nothing but frozen ground straight down. Overflow. Under fresh snow, same as before, same as always, invisible from on top. And I was standing dead center of a slough that had no business being unfrozen this deep into winter. Same as the water that took Ruby had no business being unfrozen either. I didn't move. Didn't dare shift my weight wrong. Just stood there feeling that soft give under 20 years of trusting my own boots on Alaska ice, and thought, of course it's this. Of course it brought me to exactly this. Wind just dropped. All at once. 1 second it's roaring in my hood, and the next it's just gone. Dead flat calm, like a door shut somewhere. And there it was. standing where the last dead trees give out. Not 20 feet this time. Closer. I watched it take 2 steps toward me while I stood frozen on ground I already knew wouldn't hold hard running. 2 long, unhurried steps. Silent. No sound at all. Snow not so much as shifting under whatever it has for feet. And it stopped, maybe 12 feet off. Close enough that if the wind had been blowing, I think I'd have smelled it. Close enough I could see, God help me, the exact texture of that skin. Wet black, moving faintly the way oil moves on water, even though nothing was touching it. I'm not going to lie to you, Em. It was terrifying. I saw it clean, good moon, no fog on my goggles, clear as I'm seeing my own hands right now. Built like a dog is built like a bear. Same idea, but also the wrong idea. Very wrong. Taller at the shoulder than I stand, and I'm over 6 foot. No steam off it. 15 below, and my breath's fogging. The dog's breath is fogging. 12 clouds of it hanging over my team like a little weather system. And that thing standing 12 feet off, throwing nothing into that cold air at all. No heat. No cold either, if that makes any sense. Which it doesn't. I know it doesn't. Eyes lit up red, making its own light. Close enough now that light was throwing a faint red edge along the snow at its feet, and I stood there on ground I already knew was hollow underneath me, and could not make myself take one single step in any direction, because every direction meant either that thing or that ice. And I had already learned once, 8 years ago, exactly what happens when you make the wrong choice standing on ice that isn't what it looks like. Dogs didn't bark. Not one. 12 dogs, and every single one of them lying flat in harness, eyes rolled toward it, frozen the way a rabbit freezes, the way I froze 8 years ago at the edge of that water, watching ice take my best dog and doing nothing useful for 4, 5, 6 whole seconds before my body remembered how to move. I froze the same way now, standing right there on ground that could open under me if I so much as ran, 12 feet from something that wasn't breathing and wasn't cold and wasn't afraid of anything I had. I thought, this is it. This is the same thing all over. I'm going to stand here and watch something else I love get taken because I can't make my body do anything that matters. Same as last time. Same exact failure wearing a new night. Juno moved first. Not away, toward it. 1 step, off the gangline slack. Ears up now, not back, up, tail level. The stance she takes when a moose is too close to camp and she's deciding whether to hold ground. She barked. Once. Cracked the whole dead silent night in half like a gunshot, and every other dog came up out of that frozen crouch at the same second like she'd flipped a switch in all of them, and the whole team surged forward against the line so hard it near tore the snow hook clean out of ground that wasn't solid to begin with. I did not tell them to run. I want that on the record plain. I had no hands on the drive bow. I wasn't steering anything. My body still hadn't caught up to what was happening, and the sled lurched out from under me sideways as the hook gave, caught a hard ridge of wind-packed snow wrong, and I went down onto the runners on one knee, actually dragged a good 15-20 feet holding onto that handlebar with everything I had, while my legs bounced over ground I still didn't trust to hold anything, thinking the whole time, if I let go here, if this ice opens under me the second I lose this grip. Didn't let go. Got a boot back under me somehow. Hauled myself upright, half by luck, half by 12 dogs pulling hard enough to keep the whole rig moving faster than gravity could pull me down into whatever was under that snow. Somewhere in that first wild quarter mile, I heard a yelp, Sharp, one of the wheel dogs, and my whole chest seized up around the thought. Not again. Not another one. Not tonight. And I could not stop the team to check. Could not do one thing but keep both hands locked on that bow and pray. Actual praying. First time in years. While we ran flat out across ground I still don't know for certain was solid the whole way across. Team didn't slow for the better part of a mile. When I finally got them eased down, heart still slamming, I went dog to dog in the dark with shaking hands, checking every single one. And the yelp turned out to be Cricket, catching her own foot wrong in the gang line. Nothing worse than that. Already walking it off by the time I got to her. And I sat down right there in the snow for a second. Just sat down and let myself shake as hard as my body wanted to shake. Looked back once, before we moved on. It was still standing there, far off now, small against all that open white. Not chasing, not moving at all anymore, just watching us go, head tilted a little, same as something puzzling out a sound it didn't expect to hear. I don't know if Juno barking did something. I don't know if it was ever going to come any closer at all, or whether the ground itself would have opened under either of us before it needed to. I don't know anything for certain, except that my dogs moved before I could, and they moved toward it instead of away from it. And whatever that bought us, it bought us enough to get across ground that had no business holding anybody's weight at all. Made it in, Em. Made it to Nikolai checkpoint. It's been a long night, girl. Auntie Nadia's got coffee on. Made me sit before she'd even look at my bib number, which is how you know somebody really knows you. Checked every dog twice before I'd let the vet near them. And I know that's not how it's supposed to go, but I needed to see with my own hands that all 12 of them were standing on 4 good legs before I could believe any part of tonight was actually over. Cricket's a little tender on that one foot. Nothing worse. Juno ate like a horse, curled up in fresh straw the second she was done. Sleeping now, not a nervous hair on her. Like whatever she did out there cost her nothing at all, which I have a hard time believing but choose to anyway, because I need to believe something good came out cheap tonight, after everything else it cost. I told Nadia. All of it. She didn't blink. Said her own father saw something like it once, back before the race existed, running trapline checks alone in winter. Said the thing that saved him was his dogs standing their ground instead of bolting the wrong way, same as mine did. Locals here call it the wheelut. Take that however you like. I did take a moment to ask her why the dogs, of anything out here, why the dogs are the ones who know, who feel it coming before we do, who make the call we're too slow or too proud to make ourselves. She said dogs don't have all the noise in their head that we got. Said we're so busy arguing with ourselves about clocks and pride and being right that we miss what's standing right in front of us, telling us plain as day. Dogs don't argue with what they know. They just know it, and they act on it. And that's the whole difference between us and them, and it's not a small one. I sat with that a long minute. Em, I need to say something, and I need you to just let me say it without jumping in, okay? Just let me get it out. Please. I've spent 8 years telling myself Ruby's death was ice. Just ice. Bad luck, bad year, bad crossing. Nothing anybody could have called different. That's not true, and I've known it wasn't true the whole time, and I let you believe it anyway, because the truth made me a man who killed his own dog for 11 minutes on a clock, and I couldn't stand for you to look at me and see that man. Tonight, my best dog stopped at a marker that wasn't real and told me, plain as Ruby ever told me, that something was wrong. And this time, this one time, when it mattered most, standing on ground that could have opened under all of us, I listened. I said okay instead of hike, and she saved every single one of us, including me, and I didn't do one useful thing to earn it, except finally shut up long enough to trust her. I don't get to go back and give Ruby that same okay. I know that. I've made my peace, best as a man can, with not getting to go back. But I wanted you to have the whole truth, finally, all the way through, like I promised. Not just the parts that were easy to say. Not just tonight either. Every part, going back 8 years. The part where I chose a number on a clock over a dog who was trying to save both of us. Juno's sleeping about 4 feet from me right now, breathing slow, fogging a little cloud every time, regular as a clock, the most normal thing in the world. I keep looking at that little cloud of breath like it's the best thing I've ever seen. I love you, Em. I'll call again from the coast. That's the whole truth. Every mile of it.
Gil Larsen finished that race. Finished a few more after it too, before he hung the sled up for good a couple of years back. Gray in the beard, dogs retired to the porch instead of the gangline. His daughter's the one who sent me this. Said her father talked to her different after that run. Said he stopped protecting her from the truth, which she told me was its own kind of gift, even wrapped up in something that scared her half to death to listen to. I don't know why the dogs know first. Emma didn't either, and her father didn't. And I doubt whoever first noticed it a long time back ever got a clean answer either. Maybe you don't need one. Maybe all you need is to listen when they tell you, before the ice gives out from under you, and not after. Keep your dogs close tonight, and if one of them stops dead in a place they've got no reason to stop, don't hike. This has been Whaint 91.5, deep and dark in the backwoods of yonder. You helped keep the lights on a little longer, friend. I'm Jonah. Good night, and good luck.
Jonah's been sitting in this chair since the summer of '76. Clock on the wall stopped moving, and the darkness never lifts. Sun don't rise out here, boys, it just ain't that kind of place. Something shifted in the fabric, and Jonah fell through the space. He don't know how long he's got, don't know what it takes to stop, just spins the records, reads the log, while the creatures watch him from the fog. Whaintradio, end of the line. Jonah still gorgeous and lost in time. Out past the window, past the glass and the pine, there's a tree line full of watching, been watching since '69. They don't move, they don't speak, but brother, they don't leave. And Jonah keeps on talking, 'cause silence a thing he can't believe. He don't know how long he's got, don't know what it takes to stop, just spins the records, reads the log, while the creatures watch him from the fog. Whaintradio, end of the line. Jonah's still accursed and lost in time. Maybe there's a final word, maybe there's a sign. Maybe when he gets it right, the dark will finally turn to light. But tonight ain't that night. tomorrow.